In the year 2077, simulation games have become a reality. The world order collapsed, the world turned into a living hell, and humanity began awakening extraordinary powers. Amidst this chaos, the most beloved person in Hang Cheng, Jia, always protected Aang Jansen with dedication. "Don't worry, Jansen," Jiao comforted her. "I spent a lot of money to hire 10 experts to help you level up. I'm sure you have the best." Jiao never hesitated to spend his entire family fortune just to buy a divine artifact for Aang Jansen. Whenever there was an opportunity or a valuable piece of equipment, Jiao obtained it immediately for her. Thanks to his support, Aang Jansen eventually became a powerful divine figure in the Dragon Realm. Today was the day Jiao and Aang Jansen would become husband and wife. At the ceremony, all the attendees kept constantly couldn't help. They are a couple made in heaven. Wo Jiao is truly a rich and passionate man. I wish I could find someone like that. At that moment, Jiao embraced Aang Jansen, looked deeply in her eyes, and whispered, "Jansen, would you accept marrying me?" Aang, with shyness, leaned on his shoulder and softly responded, "I." But in an instant her gaze changed. There was no longer tenderness, but an icy coldness. With a chilling voice, she said, "I do not accept." Before Jiao could react, Aang Jansen swiftly stabbed a knife into his chest. Jiao, full of pain and astonished, couldn't believe he was seeing. He could only let out a scream. Aang Jansen cruelly ripped his heart out of his chest, leaving Jiao in absolute horror. With a trembling voice, he asked, "Jansen, why? Why are you doing this?" Holding his heart in her hand, Aang Jansen laughed with disdain and said, "Jiao, did you really think you could buy my heart with money? Did you think that the equipment you gave me would force me to love you? You were wrong. I only accepted your gifts. But that doesn't mean I accepted your feelings. I'm not that cheap. The achievements I have today are the result of my own efforts, not thanks to anyone else." Then Aang Jansen approached the man behind her, embraced him, and looked at Jiao with a mocking smile. "In this world, Sujun understands my pain, and now, I will give your heart to him. This way, when I am with him, I can hear your heart beating every day. Isn't that touching?" Hearing these words, Jiao seemed to understand everything, but unfortunately, when he realized it, it was already too late. In unbearable pain, he lay on the ground filled with rage, screaming, "You bastards!" Seeing him, Sujun approached and brutally beat him several times, mocking, "Who the hell do you think you are? Die, you trash. Now everything that was yours is mine." And so, Jiao was thrown into the freezing river by the two of them. As his body floated in the icy water, he thought desperately, "Aang Jansen, I gave up everything for you. I gave you my heart and soul, and in the end, you betrayed me. My heart is now nothing but ashes. Is this really my end? Dying like this?" But then, a fierce will ignited inside him. "No, now I have no heart this. I won't die like accept it. I must get it revenge. I will make those deckable people pay for this." Just when it seemed like everything was over, a voice suddenly echoed beside him. "Jiao, are you deaf? Didn't you hear what I just said?" Confused, Jiao recognized a familiar voice but still couldn't understand what was happening. The young woman in front of him continued, visibly annoyed, raising her voice. "Jiao, do you think I need your damn money? Let me tell you something. Accepting your money has already given you some respect and dignity. Understand." After that, she warned him, "Don't ever come looking for me again." Ignoring the girl's anger, Jiao looked around in confusion, thinking, "What is happening? Have I traveled through time? No, I can't be. This moment is so familiar. This is a week before the Apocalypse game disaster. In this card, there are 200,000 yuan. It's for this month's expenses," Aang Jansen said. Jay looked at the card in his hand, feeling a flood of emotions in his heart. "I really have been reborn." Thinking about this, he stood still for a moment, saying nothing. Seeing him like that, Aang Jansen continued speaking in a reproachful tone. "You don't know how much it hurt me to accept your affection. Many in the class call me second-generation rich, but they don't understand that everything I do is for your own good." Hearing this, Jiao frowned in disgust. His eyes turned cold as he looked at Aang Jansen, but she didn't stop criticizing him. "What's wrong? Have you regretted it already?" The current Jiao was no longer the same as before, the one who endured Aang Jansen's cruel words. He coldly pushed her hand away and responded, "You say it's for my own good. Go to hell." Surprised by Jiao's drastic change, Aang Jansen froze in disbelief and exclaimed, "What did you say?" Without wanting to explain further, Jiao turned around to leave, but not before adding, "If it's so difficult for you, then from now on I won't give you any more money." Aang Jansen, furious, screamed, "You Jiao, do you really dare to do this?" But then she quickly changed her attitude and muttered to herself in a low voice, "Again with this act. Well, for the effort he made to come all this way, I'll accept his card this time, even if reluctantly." As she then approached him with the intention of touching him, but Jiao, now fully aware of her true nature, did not hesitate to shout at her his words, "Stay away from me." And wounded by Jansen, exploded in rage and responded, "You dare talk to me like that, Jiao? You'll regret this." Before she could say more, Jiao glanced at the expensive international brand shoes she was wearing and with a cold voice said, "I just remembered, those shoes you're wearing are a gift from me. Take them off right now." Aang Jansen, as if she had lost her mind, looked at him angrily and scolded him, "Jiao, don't think that just because you have a little dirty money, you can act so high and mighty. Do you think this will make me give in to you? Remember what you did today? Even if you kneel and beg for my forgiveness in the future, I will never look at you again." Without caring in the slightest, Jiao tossed the shoes directly into the trash and coldly replied, "Well, thank God. I beg you never to appear in front of me again." But without saying anything else, he walked away, leaving Aang Jansen motionless in the middle of the street. "I have more important things to do now. I don't have time to waste on someone like you." Based on the current timeline, Jiao knew that the beta phase of Apocalypse would begin in a week. During the first 10 minutes after activation, the recharge system would be available for a short period. What Jiao needed to do now was to gather enough capital before it began. He quickly pulled out his phone and called someone. As soon as the other person answered, a voice was heard. "Isn't this the great romantic Jiao? What made you remember me today?" With an icy tone, Jiao responded, "Hello Yellen, didn't you want the shares I own 2 billion? One-time payment. Do you want to buy them or not?" She asked in surprise. "Did I hear wrong? Do you want to sell your shares?" she asked firmly. Jiao replied, 2 billion, not a cent less. All the paperwork must be completed in 5 days, and the money transferred to my account. With Miss Lin's skills, there shouldn't be any problem, right? Yellen let out a quick laugh. "No problem, 2 billion, deal done. So you finally come to your senses and are willing to let me take control of the group?" "No," Jiao responded coldly, not wanting to waste any more time. "Don't talk too much. When everything is ready, call me. The sooner the better." After settling the capital issue, a slight smile appeared on his face as he thought, the next step is to wait for the arrival of the apocalypse. "In this life, I will ascend the throne myself." Time passed, and exactly 1 week later, the game's system interface appeared. "Welcome to the game Apocalypse. The current version is in the closed beta phase. Congratulations to the players who qualified to participate in this beta version. This testing phase will last 3 days, and the open beta version will be launched after these 3 days." Jesse quickly touched the system screen and was instantly transported to a desolate land. Looking around, a familiar feeling washed over him, and he sighed. This familiar scent. This is the place. This is where the Apocalypse game begins. He reached out to the system panel to collect his equipment. Reading the information, he smiled. "My nickname is still Jessia. Oh, as for the class. In my past life, an entire army was defeated by a divine beast tamer who resolved everything with just one dark abyssal dragon. This time I won't lack resources, so I will choose to be a beast tamer." But thus, Jiao was equipped as a beast tamer. Then, the system panel displayed the recharge option. Without hesitation, he touched it. The next step, he thought, was the most crucial moment. In an instant, the system's voice echoed, "Congratulations. You have successfully recharged and received 5 billion gold coins." Holding the enormous amount of coins in his hands, Jiao couldn't help but feel ecstatic, laughing out loud. "This is incredible, Yell. 2 billion well invested. In less than 3 days, the value of these coins will multiply tenfold." As he enjoyed his euphoria, the system continued announcing, "Congratulations. As the first player to recharge more than 100 million, the system will unlock a unique hidden profession reward. The profession has been identified and has been automatically fused with you." Reading this, Jesse exclaimed in surprise. Suddenly, the system screen darkened. Terrifying red eyes appeared, followed by a message: "Congratulations, you have obtained a second profession, God of Fortune." And with doubt on his face, Jesse stared at the message and thought, "Did I unlock this hidden profession just by spending too much money? And it's called God of Fortune." Suddenly, a voice echoed from the system panel. "I never imagined it would be you who unlocked me, and it turns out you're just a kid." At that moment, a toad jumped out of the system panel. Surprised, Jiao looked at it and exclaimed, "Where did this toad come from?" Indignant, the toad shouted, furious, "How insolent! I am Evie Mound, the great mentor of wealth, and you are the 7th God of Fortune I have the honor of training." With a disdainful tone, Jiao responded, a toad calling itself the mentor of the God of Fortune. "Do you think you're selling financial products?" And the toad, frowning, snapped its fingers and arrogantly declared, "Insolent brat. This great master will show you what true wealth means." The moment the toad finished speaking, system notifications began appearing one after another. Innate talent wealth level 1. The most basic ability of the God of Fortune is to create wealth. The amount of gold coins you possess will increase by 1% daily. Innate talent. Absolute greed level 1. As the God of Fortune, you reject any loss. After your death, the gold coins and items you own will not be lost. Innate talent. Heavenly blessing level 11. They say money is the most important thing to sustain life. The more wealth you possess, the luckier you will be. Luck points increase. Innate talent. Unparalleled charm. Level 1. No matter how ugly you are, as long as you spend generously, you will become extremely attractive and charming. 3 charisma points. Innate talent. Power of the God of Fortune level 1e. And you God of Fortune is still a god, and you will have the strength of 1. For every million gold coins you spend, you will gain a random attribute point. So limit up to 100 times per day. After reading the notifications, Jiao exclaimed in surprise, "This is a total game changer." He looked at the toad and said in amazement, "No wonder this is a hidden profession. It has so many innate talents. But it seems like there's no offensive skill, right?" The toad proudly replied from the side, "You don't understand anything. Any innate talent from the God of Fortune is designed to bring you wealth. Wealth is power." After hearing this, Jiao rested his hand on his chin, staring at the notifications while thinking. "Infinite wealth increases my gold by 1% daily. With my current capital of 2 billion. That means I can earn 220 million additional gold coins every day." He continued calculating. "If I combine it with the power of the God of Fortune, I can gain 22 attribute points daily. What kind of concept is this?" Immediately, Jiao lifted the toad joyfully and laughed out loud. "This is incredible. This God of Fortune is too generous. In my past life, I spent my entire fortune on Jansen, but in this life, I am the God of Fortune. I'm going to show the world what the power of money truly means." Seeing Jiao so excited, the alarmed toad shouted, "Brat, put this great master down immediately." The system panel displayed a new message. "Are you ready to head to the beginner's village, Without hesitation, Jiao selected Wes on the screen and with a confident smile exclaimed, "With this golden springboard, what am I waiting for to accelerate my development?" In the blink of an eye, both he and the Toad were transported to Beginner's Village No. 9521 IU Plains. Looking around, Jiao sighed. "It looks like this server is just launched. There's no one here. This is the perfect opportunity to develop quickly." Reading the system panel, he commented, "Beast tamers have a much harder start than any other profession. It's basically impossible to tame powerful beasts in the early stages. If I want to advance quickly, there's really only one way." The Toad sitting on his shoulder quickly interrupted. "Who knows what was going through your head when you chose to be a beast tamer? You don't even have a starting weapon." Calmly, Jiao responded, "What do you know? Beast tamers have unlimited potential. It's the profession with the greatest future potential." At that moment, from behind a group of armed individuals appeared with a hostile attitude, shouting frantically, "Human flesh smells like now." They were level 5 elite goblin warriors. Seeing them, Jiao exclaimed in worry, "Damn it, elite level 5 warriors. Are you serious? Am I lucky? At my current level, should I fight or run?" While he was still hesitating, the Toad had already taken off running. Alarmed, Jiao turned and shouted, "Damn Toad, how fast can you run?" The Toad, running calmly, replied, "Do you really need to think about this? You're only wearing pants and don't even have a weapon, facing an elite level 5 warrior. Not even in your dreams. Run before it's too late." Recognizing the logic in his words, Jiao immediately turned and started running as fast as he could, shouting, "Oh my god, someone save me." Behind him, the group of goblins kept chasing, yelling, "Human flesh won't escape." After running for a while, they finally reached the city. Panting, Jiao said, "Luckily we made it to the main city. I just started and I already almost lost my life." The Toad beside it also commented, "This great master has never been humiliated like this before." At that moment, some passersby looked at Jiao and began murmuring, Is there really someone who chooses the beast tamer profession? And not just a beast tamer who has tamed a Toad." The Toad on his shoulder, he became enraged and replied, "The frog is you, your whole family are frogs." Both walked away with their heads down, but the mocking laughter of the people behind them kept resonating. "Hella, this beast tamer is too funny, taming a frog, haha." The frog, clearly upset, "Jiao, in the city there's someone who sells beast eggs. Hurry up and buy one, don't make me repeat it, bot." "Calm down," Jiao responded. "I don't want those common beast eggs." The frog Yug asked, "Then what entry are you looking for?" With a smile, Jiao answered, "Follow me, I know of a hidden dungeon where there is a divine level beast egg in the dragon's cave." A while later, both arrived at the front of the Elite Supreme Hall. The frog alarmed looked at Jiao and shouted, "You're crazy! You're only level 1! What are you doing here? Only players level 100 or higher can rent a minion here." Determined, Jiao responded, "Stop complaining on what I'm doing." Without saying more, he began to enter, but after a few steps, a voice resonated from inside. "Wait, young man. This isn't a place for you. Come back when you've practiced more. Only when you have a recommendation letter from the Lord of the City will the doors of the Elite Supreme Hall open to you." Jiao looked up and saw a tall, old man with penetrating eyes. He was an 80th level archmage serving as the guardian of the place. With astonishment, Jiao thought, "No wonder this place is the Elite Supreme Hall, even he is an 80th level archmage." Approaching the old man, Jiao said, "Respected archmage, I don't have the recommendation letter." The archmage, staring intently at Jiao, spoke seriously, "Then turn around, the supreme pride of the empire, not a place where a young boy." In response, Jiao remaining calm, "Although I don't have a recommendation letter, respected archmage, it seems that a few days ago you lost something. That's why I've come specially to return it to you." The archmage frowned and asked with suspicion, "Something? What is it? I warn you not to do anything foolish." At that moment, Jiao slowly pulled something from his pocket and said, "Respected archmage, take a good look at this." As he spoke, some gold coins fell to the ground in front of the archmage, who, surprised, bent down to look at them more closely and exclaimed, "Gold coins." He quickly picked them up while Jiao continued throwing more coins on the ground, saying with a smile, "Respected archmage, there are more." With the gold coins in hand, the archmage, visibly excited, said enthusiastically. Seizing the moment, Jiao asked, "Respected archmage, do you like it?" Sensing Jiao's intention, the archmage quickly stepped aside and with a bow said, "Please, go ahead. On the highest level, there is a private room for the God of War, reserved for clients of the Elite Supreme Hub. I invite you to go." Hint of humor, Jiao commented, "Hiam, respected master, I must admit I liked your stricter attitude before. Could you go back to being like before?" The archmage, turning around, began to walk while firmly reminding him, "Hahum, young man, hurry up and go up." Following behind, Jiao burst into laughter. "This is how it should be, Howa. Nothing like the power of money." After that, Jiao entered the Grand Hall. Around him, the place was decorated with numerous night puppets. Night puppet, level of the Elite Supreme Hall, 1,000 gold coins. Level 80 of the Elite Supreme Hall, 800 gold coins. Upon seeing them, the frog on Jiao's shoulder exclaimed in admiration, as expected from the Elite Supreme Hall, with 100 level guardians. "With these, you could easily dominate the beginner's village." With an air of superiority, Jiao replied, "This is nothing, it doesn't even deserve my attention." At that moment, a bloodthirsty warrior appeared and asked in a deep voice, "Who gave you permission to enter?" Remaining calm, Jiao answered, "I want to rent a divine level guardian puppet dot. I know a divine level sorcerer, I could ask him for you." The excited Toad jumped on Jiao's shoulder and asked loudly, "A divine level sorcerer? Isn't that a hidden profession? Geo nodded and added, the divine level sorcerer is a perfect option. He can protect, defend, and attack all in one. Hiring him from the start would be the best decision. I choose him. The blood warrior nodded and suggested, I can summon him at any time, but first I need to confirm something. When will the 100 million gold coins be paid? With a smile, Geo replied, let's sign the contract now. The payment will be made at any moment. The blood warrior quickly pulled out a contract and said, then there's no problem. Signed, I'll summon him immediately. Once signed, Geo signed the contract without hesitation and said, perfect, the sooner, the better. I'm in a hurry. Just after Geo finished speaking, a feminine voice resonated from behind. Fitchbrat dares to sign a contract with me, your grandmother. Surprised, Geo turned around and seriously, so fast. The girl approached with a smile and said, well, turns out you're a handsome boy. I'm Dorothy, the divine level sorceress. According to the contract, for the next 24 hours, I will obey your orders. The mysterious Dorothy with the alias R and an unknown level deeply intrigued Geo. He thought to himself, her level is so high that I can't see her information. Dorothy stepped forward confidently, lifted Geo's chin with her hand, and asked, come on, tell me, what do you need? I assure you you'll be satisfied. A bit nervous, Geo scratched his head before responding. Greetings, esteemed expert. I hired you mainly because I want to challenge an extremely difficult dungeon. Dorothy let out a laugh and said, a difficult dungeon. In the beginner's village. Killing the Goblin King or his entire family. I just need one move to resolve it. It's nothing. Not wanting to waste more time, Geo quickly started moving forward, saying, it's an urgent matter. I appreciate your help in advance, expert. From behind, Dorothy responded enthusiastically. How interesting. Very well, lead the way. After walking for a while, they arrived at the dungeon in the beginner's village. There, Dorothy raised her staff, concentrated her energy into a fire spell, and launched a devastating attack. Within seconds, all the goblins were completely annihilated. Witnessing the scene, the astonished Toad exclaimed in admiration, this is insane. Her damage output is like dialing a number to summon death. She just wipes out all those goblins. Just a moment ago, they almost killed me. Around them, some people started watching and murmuring. I just saw that correctly, right? That guy has a sorcerer with that. The down top of that. And damage output is insane. He doesn't seem like an ordinary sorcerer. He doesn't display his level. Could he be a cheater? A cheater, no way. He must be an NPC hired with an incredibly high level, even if he's an NPC. She's really beautiful. Suddenly, the system emitted several notifications. Congratulations, your level has successfully increased to level 10. You have received 10 attribute points. Please distribute them as you prefer. Congratulations. You are the first player in Beginner's Village in 9527 to reach level 10. You are awarded 10 additional attribute points. Congratulations, you are the first player in the world to reach level 10. You are awarded 50 attribute points and the title 1,000 miles in one day. Reading the notifications, the Toad grumbled with some envy. Brat, you reached level 10 so fast. The highest level among other players hasn't even surpassed level 5. The world notification immediately echoed player Geo has successfully reached level 10, unlocking the level ranking list. Upon hearing this, everyone was astonished and exclaimed, this is incredible. The game has been out for less than a day, and someone is already at level 10. Who is this Geo? He seems to be breaking all the rules. I have to go earn his favor right now. I'm still in time. He must be a game employee, for sure. He must enter just to test things. Meanwhile, Geo continued on his way, thinking to himself, keep asking all the questions you want. None of you know that in a few days, this apocalyptic game will become reality. And when that moment comes, you'll understand that I am the true god here. Geo felt good. With the attribute points earned from leveling up, the 100 million spent today, and the 100 attribute points granted by the power of the god of fortune, I'm about to reach my true goal. After walking a distance, the Toad complained again. Geo, is this the hidden dungeon you were talking about? With a smile, Geo replied, that's right, the Great Dragon's Cave, I've arrived. At that moment, the global level ranking was updated. Global level ranking, Geo, level 10, Kingdom of Flowers, vacant. Notet, level 10 is the lowest level displayed in the ranking. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a man in a white cloak was wielding his sword tirelessly, annihilating goblins. After a while, he smiled proudly and thought, since I started the game, I've been hunting elite monsters non-stop. But now I'm only level 3, and someone is already level 10. Should this game have some exploit? I've never heard that name before. This man, a silver mercenary level, had a gaze filled with murderous intent as he murmured to himself. It looks like a formidable opponent has emerged. This is getting interesting. A scene change in Beginner's Village in 9521, deep in the Valley of Heroes, coordinates 10254. Gia looked in the distance and said, this is the place. Upon arriving, he placed his hand on a stone slab. Immediately, the slab began to glow, revealing a dragon symbol. Shortly after, the slab trembled violently and shattered completely. The system emitted a notification: you have entered the hidden area Great Dragon's Lair. This is an extremely dangerous zone. Please leave immediately. Seeing the scene before him, Joe couldn't help but exclaim, no way! What a fierce presence! Is this really the presence of a true great dragon? A hidden dungeon? The Toad asked, astonished. Brat, how the hell did you discover this? Both continued advancing. As they reached the cave entrance, Dorothy, with her hand on her chin, commented, if this really is a giant dragon, even I can't guarantee total success. Jiao replied, I didn't expect to face a great dragon either. Let's enter first and then see. And as he walked, Jiao recalled, Back then, a level 100 warrior accidentally activated the hidden quest Explore the Dragon's Cave and discovered that the dungeon entrance was hidden in the beginner's village, but no one believed him. At the time, everyone thought there couldn't be such a high-level dungeon in the beginner's village, so he had to enter alone. How curious, the toad asked. So how did you discover it? Geo continued. I had to pay a hefty price to obtain footage of his battles while he was still alive. Through them, I discovered that there's an extremely rare dragon egg in this dungeon. Suddenly, Dorothy stopped and looked ahead, breaking into a cold sweat. The toad jumped in alarm and said in horror, "A dragon egg. Don't tell me you plan to steal it." The toad trembled and added, "Stealing a dragon egg is harder than killing the dragon directly." With a reproachful tone, Dorothy said, "Brat, are you playing with me or what?" From a distance, Jiao remained calm and replied, "Sister Tao, you are a divine-level sorceress. Why be so humble? Look, it's just a giant dragon with your power. Defeating it in an instant shouldn't be difficult, right?" And before them, the dragon's information appeared. Sacred Dragon of Fortune, Extraordinary 5th Grade. Dorothy was startled and exclaimed, "A 5th grade great dragon." Her eyes filled with panic as she quickly pulled out a teleportation scroll, clearly preparing to escape. "You guys go first, I'll wait outside." With a calm smile, Jiao asked, "Sister Tao, what's your success rate?" Dorothy looked at him seriously and replied, "Success rate? This is too much. It seems that this egg is even more extraordinary than I thought. We must definitely get it. A 3rd grade dragon would already be capable of annihilating an entire guild. This great sacred judgment dragon is one of the most powerful existences within the dragon race. We don't even have a 1 in 10,000 chance of winning." Waving his hands in resignation, he continued with a sigh. "Not even a little. I'm leaving before it's too late." Ajia hurriedly said, "Sister Tao, I'll pay double the rent." "How about that?" But Dorothy firmly refused. "Not even all the money in the world. It's not that I don't want the money, but it's simply impossible to defeat it." Jeshi insisted, explaining, "It's not really about killing it, we just need to buy time." Even so, Dorothy remained firm. "No one can face a 5th grade great dragon." Yeso, with a serious expression, raised 3 fingers in front of Dorothy and said, "I'll pay you triple." Upon hearing the amount, Dorothy's eyes gleamed intensely. She stopped in her tracks and exclaimed, "For triple? This old lady will risk even her life if necessary." With a determined expression, she raised her staff and declared, "I'll bet everything on you. 3 minutes. That's the maximum time I can buy." The system issued multiple notifications. "You have received the blessing of the god of life. Your life attributes have doubled. You have received the blessing of the god of agility. Your agility attributes have doubled. You have received the blessing of the god of strength. Your strength attributes have doubled." Jiao, looking at the notifications and observing his hands, murmured, "Sister Tao, are you sure about this?" "Already in action," Dorothy responded with determination. "Do you think this sister would roam the world without an ace up her sleeve? The effect lasts only 3 minutes. The rest is up to you." At that moment, the great dragon awakened, roaring with uncontrolled fury. Dorothy, leaping nimbly, couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, "My God! No wonder it's a divine-level dragon. It's absolutely terrifying." Pointing at the dragon, she shouted, "Damn monster! Under normal circumstances, this sister would be afraid of you, but for these 3 minutes, even a dragon must kneel before me." With firm resolve, she activated her Eternal Ice Arrow ability, striking the great dragon and forcing it to roar in pain. Enraged, the dragon began drooling, looking at the earth with murderous hunger for violating its territory. Meanwhile, Geo advanced stealthily toward the dragon egg. With extreme caution, he gently placed his hand on the egg, thinking, "The first step is done. Please don't let it notice. If it does, my little life will end in an instant." Meanwhile, Dorothy was fiercely fighting the great dragon. The advantage seemed to be entirely on the dragon's side. She could barely dodge its attacks while shouting toward Geo, "Only 1 minute left! I can't hold on much longer." Lifted the dragon egg but couldn't help frowning and complaining, "This egg is so heavy. Hey Toad, help me carry it." The toad, shrugging, replied, "This great master has never done things like stealing eggs or catching chickens." Suddenly, the toad dropped its iron helmet, producing a loud metallic sound that echoed throughout the cave. Startled, Jiao froze in place, not daring to move. The great dragon, turning around and seeing its egg in Jia's hands, roared frantically and charged toward them in fury. Realizing the danger, the 3 of them fled desperately. As they ran, Jiao yelled at the toad, "Damn useless Toad! You ruin everything!" Offended, the toad angrily retorted, "Insolent brat! Who gave you the courage to insult this great master? Run and stop complaining." As they were about to exit the cave, Jiao shouted in desperation, "Sister Tao, save me!" Without hesitation, Dorothy cast her Eternal Ice Wall ability, blocking the dragon. Unable to break through the wall, the great dragon roared in fury from the other side. Outside, Dorothy shouted, "This isn't sustainable. I can't hold it back forever." At that moment, the dragon ascended into the sky, preparing to unleash its Dragon King's breath ability. Seeing this, Dorothy trembled with fear and exclaimed, "It's the breath of the Dragon King. Run quickly." Boom! A gigantic fireball from the sky exploding with a deafening roar. The 3 ran like mad while Geo shouted, "Sister Toe, why are you running too?" Indignantly, Dorothy replied, "Stop talking nonsense. Do you think I'm invincible? I told you I would last 3 minutes and I did. When the time was up, what did you expect me to do? Stay and die?" Both managed to jump through the emergency exit at the last second. Jill landed face first on the ground but, in a playful tone, commenting, "A little mishap but nothing serious. Let's just say the heist was a success." And annoyed, Dorothy cursed, Idiot brat. If that dragon egg only produces a 5th grade dragon, it wouldn't even be worth risking my life for this mission. Oh, and don't forget to transfer the full rent money. Just after speaking, the familiar sound of din din resonated. Dorothy's affinity toward you has increased. Current affinity 60. Joe responded, don't worry, you'll get your money. He approached the dragon egg, extended his hand, and murmured, now comes the moment to sign the tamer contract. I hope this egg doesn't produce something useless, or my 300 million will be wasted. The toad interrupted, replying, shut that mouth full of bad vibes. This is a crucial moment. Don't disappoint me now. Determined, Geo placed his hand on the egg and began the contract. At that moment, the dragon egg started to crack. Boom! In front of him appeared a tiny dragon, extremely adorable. Surprised, Geo looked at it in disbelief and commented, why does this dragon's color look a bit strange? Dorothy, observing closely, quickly said, this doesn't seem to be a baby dragon of the Great Radiant Dragon. Shocked, Geo exclaimed, don't tell me this Great Radiant Dragon was betrayed. Jessia looked at the small dragon's information and couldn't help but be astonished. These stats are completely off the charts. The group was left perplexed upon seeing the dragon's details. Nickname. Not yet assigned racer, Great Celestial Dragon, mythical level, basic attributes, all attributes at 500 points, talents, absolute suppression, King of the Dragon Tribe, mythical lineage, skills, Dragon of the Apocalypse, authority, Dragon King's Breath. Dragon King's Fury, satisfied. Joe nodded, 500 strength points at just level 1. When we get back, I'll get a brand new set of equipment. At that point, just one breath will deal over 500 damage. No one will be able to withstand that. Old AV couldn't help but comment in admiration. Brat, this time you really got a treasure. This little dragon's attributes are amazing, and its growth potential is immense. If it matures completely, its destructive power will be unimaginable. As he petted the little dragon's head and saw its happy expression, Geo grew even more fond of it, laughing. He said, J.O., the more I look at you, the more you remind me of Hugh Boris. So I'll call you Little Who. At the same time, old Evie jumped off Geo's shoulder, muttering in discontent, with this little guy around, no one will ever see me as your tame beast again. Hearing this, Jessie turned toward the toad with curiosity and asked, hey, Toad, what are you holding in your hand? Annoyed, the toad replied furiously, damn brat, my name is Heavy. How dare you keep calling me Toad? Ignoring the complaint, Jiao examined what the toad was holding. It seemed to be an emblem. Taking it and looking at it more closely, he asked curiously, Toad, where did you get this emblem? Old Evie, looking dejected, shouted in vain, give it back, you insolent brat. I found this in the Great Dragon's Cave a moment ago. Dorothy, curious, approached to observe and said thoughtfully, could this be the brutal emblem of Apocalypse level? Jiao, startled, exclaimed, what? Apocalypse level? The object's information appeared, brutal emblem, Apocalypse rank, basic attributes. Full 10% to all attributes, unique passive ability, brutal strength, active ability, brutal slaughter. Seeing these incredible properties, Jiao had no doubts. This was an extremely valuable item. Meanwhile, the old AVM kept shouting at me, give it back, you brat. I got that by using the blood of this great master to exchange for it. Coldly, Jiao replied, you exchange it with your blood. Well, because of you, we almost lost our lives. Consider this as compensation. I'll use it for now. An indignant EVM shouted, what do you mean you'll use it for now? It'll cost you 100,000 gold coins per day. Or with a cheeky smile, Jessie patted the old toad's head and said, come on, EVM. Don't be so stingy. Why talk about money between us? EVM, hands on his waist, responded angrily. Don't play dumb. When it suits you, you call me EVM. When it doesn't, I'm just a stinky toad. Who's the stingy one here? In the end, Jiao placed the emblem on his chest and burst into laughter. Ha ha! With this emblem, a few goblins will be as easy as slicing melons. Just then, a system message appeared, so you have activated Hidden Quest, the Forbidden Condemned. A powerful presence, like that of a brutal king, was destroyed by the Abyss. Bearer of the brutal emblem, seek the truth. Daza quest objected to Ev, find the brutal fang. Astonished, Geo exclaimed, what? A hidden quest? What the hell is that? What? Dorothy, surprised, explained. You don't know what the brutal fang is. It's a dagger belonging to a divine-level assassin, forged from the fangs of a demonic beast from the deep abyss. It's said to be one of the most destructive weapons. It seems like this emblem and the brutal fang are connected in some way, and after hearing this, Geo commented, sounds pretty impressive, but reaching the deepest continent is still far away. Suddenly, a system notification popped up. Player Geo, you have reached your daily playtime limit. You will be forcibly disconnected in 3 minutes. Doctor's Don surprised, Geo said, yeah, my playtime is already up. Looks like I'll have to log out first. And seeing this, Dorothy summoned a magic circle and commented, I didn't expect the hidden dungeon in the beginner's village to take so long. Well, I'll also return to the Supreme Divine Temple. If you need anything, look for me anytime. But remember to bring enough gold. Geo waved a smile and replied, all right, Sister Tao, see you next time. As he waited to disconnect, Joe reflected to himself that the game Apocalypse is still in its cooperative phase. It hasn't integrated with the real world yet. I'd better check the news first, or my body might suffer damage. The next day at Geo's house, social media was flooded with comments too. The virtual reality game Apocalypse has reached the #1 spot in the gaming community. It's the most talked about topic right now. See, this game is way too hard. I played for just 1 day and my liver already hurts. I barely reached level 2. If I die again, I'll lose all my attributes. What are the developers thinking? making this game so difficult. No one can play like this. That's damn. Who is this Geo that reached level 10 in a single day? Is he using hacks? If this game is trash, what kind of game lets you die like this on the first day? If it ain't it apocalypse. A huge number of players had died too many times in a short period. What was terrifying was that in the real world they also died. Moreover, many other players who had died 2 or 3 times in the game began feeling unwell and were warned to disconnect to preserve their lives. However, a significant number suffered multiple organ failures and had to be hospitalized after a short time in the game. Reading these reports, Geo thought to himself, oh, now many countries have banned players from entering the game for dying too many times. This group of cowards is useless and they still blame others. In a few days, when the game becomes reality, they'll have it even worse. At that moment, Geo's phone rang. Opening the voice message, he heard the irritating voice of Inji. I'll give you a chance. Go to the hospital right now. Take some food for Sujin. He's hospitalized. Oh, and pay his medical expenses. As for what happened before, I'll forget it, as if it never happened.